In the tender, intricate tapestry of human connection, there are threads woven with divine intent, bonds that resonate with the very core of one's soul. For your person, this profound connection with you, this sacred, unspoken promise, was something their deepest self recognized from the very first breath shared in your presence. Yet, for an agonizingly long period, they resisted it with a fervor that seemed almost insurmountable. The primary architect of this steadfast resistance was their ego, a formidable fortress built over a lifetime, designed to guard against perceived threats and maintain a false sense of control. This ego, a construct of fear and self-preservation, blinded them to the undeniable truth that their heart and intuition were tirelessly striving to impart. Instead of leaning into the gentle, persistent whispers of their inner knowing, instead of embracing the profound resonance that echoed within their spirit when you were near, they consciously, almost defiantly, chose to push it away. It was a peculiar, painful dance they performed with themselves. The truth of your bond, a truth so luminous and potent, kept bubbling to the surface, an undeniable current flowing through their very being. Their inner voice, a profound and ancient wisdom residing within their soul, continuously murmured that this connection was unlike any they had ever encountered. It carried a depth, a purity, and a spiritual significance that transcended ordinary human relationships. It promised a belonging, a solace, and a completeness they had unknowingly yearned for their entire lives. But across this landscape of potential, a thick, suffocating fog of fear relentlessly clouded their vision. They had dedicated countless years, perhaps even entire lifetimes, to constructing elaborate fortifications around their fragile inner world. These were not mere walls, they were towering ramparts forged from a lifetime of insecurities, cemented with the bitter mortar of past disappointments, and fortified by the jagged fragments of heartbreaks. They genuinely believed, with every fiber of their being, that these imposing barriers were their salvation, their ultimate protection against further pain. The tragic irony, however, was that these very defenses, intended to safeguard their heart, paradoxically incarcerated it, preventing them from experiencing the boundless, transformative power of genuine love. The sheer weight of vulnerability pressed down upon them, a suffocating cloak that stifled their very breath. The mere contemplation of opening their heart to you, of peeling back the layers of their carefully constructed facade, was an act so terrifying it bordered on the unbearable. To be truly seen, to reveal the raw, tender wounds they had painstakingly concealed beneath layers of bravado and indifference, felt like an existential threat. Their personal history with love and intimate relationships was not a story of joyous unions or unwavering trust. Instead, it was a chronicle punctuated by painful memories of profound disillusionment, sharp stings of betrayal, and the agonizing void left by abandonment. Each previous encounter seemed to reinforce a distorted narrative, a deeply ingrained belief that true intimacy invariably culminated in loss, unbearable hurt, or soul-crushing disappointment. This cumulative burden of past experiences profoundly shaped their perception of intimacy and authentic connection. It twisted their understanding, convincing them, often subconsciously, that genuine love was always inextricably linked with suffering. To shield themselves from this perceived inevitability of pain, they meticulously crafted and adopted a mask of formidable coldness. To the casual observer, to those who encountered them in the superficial currents of daily life, they might have appeared aloof, detached, entirely unbothered by the emotional tides of the world, or even overtly rude. This external demeanor, however, was nothing more than an intricately woven defense mechanism, a sophisticated shield designed to repel any attempt at true closeness. Hidden beneath that impenetrable exterior resided a soul that yearned, with a desperation it scarcely acknowledged, for love. Yet, tragically, it possessed no blueprint, no intuitive understanding of how to receive love without perceiving it as an immediate threat, a precursor to inevitable heartbreak. And so, even as the universe, in its infinite wisdom and unwavering benevolence, continued to offer them undeniable signs of your presence, gentle, persistent nudges, synchronicities that defied mere coincidence, all conspiring to remind them of the profound authenticity of this connection. They still attempted to flee. Your very presence in their life, the undeniable energy that radiated from you, stirred something monumentally powerful within the dormant chambers of their spirit. On the surface, they may have employed every conceivable tactic to deny its existence, to rationalize away the inexplicable pull. Yet, at the ineffable level of their soul, that deep, resonant core of their being, they simply could not ignore it. This relationship, this divine appointment, acted as a potent catalyst, triggering long-dormant parts of themselves they had diligently kept buried, meticulously sequestered away for years, perhaps even for decades. Old wounds, thought to be healed or forgotten, began to resurface with a searing intensity. These were the festering wounds of feeling fundamentally not good enough, the paralyzing fear of rejection, the agonizing self-doubt that questioned their inherent worthiness of receiving genuine, unconditional love. It was never, not for a single moment, about you being inherently wrong for them. In fact, deep within their intuitive knowing, they always recognized you as a being of exquisite purity, gentle kindness, and unshakable authenticity. You were a light, unwavering and true, in a world they had learned to navigate in shadows. The energetic current that flowed between the two of you was not merely strong, it was electrifyingly intense, a vibrational frequency that acted like a powerful, uncompromising mirror. You both unwittingly reflected one another's shadow sides, forcing deeply hidden emotions, unresolved traumas, and long-suppressed pain to rise unbidden to the surface of their consciousness. This was an invitation to profound healing, an opportunity for alchemy of the soul. Yet, instead of embracing the transformative healing this sacred connection offered, they instinctively recoiled, retreating into the familiar confines of their fear. They were deeply convinced that confronting these long-avoided shadows, these painful reflections of their inner turmoil, would utterly shatter them, leaving them broken beyond repair. And yet, despite this protracted dance of resistance and retreat, the universe, in its infinite compassion and unwavering commitment to their highest good, never abandoned them. Time and time again, amidst the labyrinthine paths of their journey, signs and synchronicities were meticulously placed in their direct sight. These were not random occurrences, they were divine breadcrumbs, urgent reminders to elevate their vibration, to summon their inner courage, and to consciously align with their higher self, that wise, expansive, and fearless part of their being that always knew the truth of their path. But as long as they clung to the suffocating embrace of ego and the paralyzing grip of fear, consistently choosing these over the liberating grace of love and the steadfast strength of faith, they remained entrenched in their resistance. They simply would not yield. It was only when you, the unwavering source of that profound connection, finally ceased the chase, when you, with an act of profound self-love and surrender, finally released your hold and allowed them to truly go, that the impenetrable fog began to lift. In that unexpected moment of profound silence, when your vibrant energy was no longer actively poured into convincing them of the depth of your feelings, a seismic shift occurred within their very core. This sudden cessation of your pursuit shook them to their foundations in a way that no previous argument, no desperate plea, no external pressure ever could. It was an internal tremor, a profound existential jolt. Suddenly, starkly, they were confronted with the chilling reality of your tangible absence. It was a vacuum, an undeniable void where your vibrant presence once resided. And only then, in the stark, unvarnished light of that absence, did they begin to comprehend the immeasurable significance you truly held in their life. Your love, your unwavering care, and your unique presence were never ordinary commodities. These were not qualities that could be easily replaced, nor could they ever be perfectly replicated by anyone else. They were singular, precious, and utterly unique. A dawning realization began to bloom within their consciousness. No fleeting material possessions, no transient distractions, no superficial connections, no matter how numerous, could ever fill the gaping void that losing you had carved into the very fabric of their existence. All the people who surrounded them, those who merely feigned concern, all the shallow interactions they had once entertained, none of it held a candle to the profound authenticity, the boundless depth, and the spiritual richness that you had so generously offered. In your illuminating presence, they had experienced something undeniably genuine, something their soul, with its ancient wisdom, instantly recognized as real, as true, as home. The painful experience of losing that authentic connection only served to amplify, with excruciating clarity, the utter emptiness of everything else they had been so desperately clinging to. As you consciously chose to become more quiet, more reserved, as you meticulously withdrew your radiant energy, it forced them into an inescapable confrontation with themselves, with their own raw, unvarnished truth. They could no longer outrun the undeniable truth of their profound feelings for you, nor could they continue to deny the powerful, magnetic guidance that was relentlessly pulling them towards a path of self-healing and profound personal growth. The intricate web of illusions they had so meticulously woven and hidden behind, the comfortable narratives they had constructed to avoid discomfort, began to unravel and crumble before their very eyes. This left them, utterly exposed, standing face to face with the magnificent, terrifying, and utterly undeniable love they had fought so fiercely to resist. Now, a new chapter is unfolding for them, illuminated by the gentle yet insistent guidance of the universe. They are being urged, with a divine imperative, to step forward with newfound strength and unwavering courage. The cosmic currents are conspiring to liberate them from the lingering clutches of fear, compelling them to embrace this extraordinary love wholeheartedly, without reservation or retreat. This connection, far from being a destructive force, has always been a catalyst for their profound transformation. Its purpose was never to dismantle them, but to reshape them, to elevate them. It has consistently, unfailingly, been about fostering their growth, initiating their healing, and guiding them into a higher, more evolved, and authentic version of themselves. They are only just beginning to grasp the profound truth that the love they share with you is not merely exceptional, it is divinely orchestrated, a masterpiece woven by the hands of destiny. It carries within its sacred essence invaluable lessons, unfathomable depth, and an unprecedented opportunity to co-create something truly sacred and enduring. For so long, they had mistakenly equated vulnerability with weakness, believing that to expose their true self was to invite inevitable harm. But now, a revolutionary understanding is dawning within them. They are starting to perceive vulnerability not as a liability, but as an undeniable source of immense strength. Loving you does not diminish their essence. On the contrary, it elevates them to a higher plane of being, enriching their spirit and expanding their capacity for joy. Opening their heart, far from guaranteeing heartbreak, promises the profound experience of wholeness, the sense of completeness that only true, unadulterated love can bestow. They are finally beginning to truly understand that the very walls they so painstakingly erected, believing them to be impregnable bastions of protection, have, in a cruel twist of fate, only served to barricade them from the one thing their soul truly longed for, a genuine, profound, soul-deep connection. Your silence, your quiet strength in stepping back, and your courageous decision to release them became, paradoxically, the very catalysts for their profound spiritual awakening. What once felt like a relentless, exhausting game of running and chasing has, in the crucible of your absence, transformed into a moment of blinding clarity, an epiphany that resonated through their entire being. They now perceive your inherent worth, your undeniable value, in a way they had never before allowed themselves to fully comprehend or acknowledge. The love you so freely offered was not merely a fleeting emotion, a transient feeling that passed through their life. It was a sacred gift, a divine offering that touched the very core of their soul in ways that nothing else had ever, or could ever, achieve. In this newfound awareness, this illuminated state of being, they are being called to embrace this love with an unshakable courage, to consciously release the shackles of fear, and to honor, with every fiber of their being, the profound connection they feel for you. It is no longer a battle of resistance, but a graceful surrender to acceptance. It is no longer about running headlong into the distance, but about standing still, rooting themselves in the present moment, and making the conscious, deliberate choice to embrace love. Because now, with a clarity that pierces through all previous illusions, they intrinsically know that your presence in their life is utterly irreplaceable. Your love is simply unmatched by any other. And this extraordinary connection, this undeniable bond, is not something they can continue to escape. It is, with every beat of their awakening heart, something they are divinely destined to embrace. My dearest love, if these words could bridge the space between us, I would plead with you, from the deepest chambers of my heart, never to misinterpret my silence as ignorance, nor to allow it to sow the insidious seed of doubt that I do not care for you. Nothing, absolutely nothing, could be further from the unvarnished truth. My prolonged silence, my perceived distance, has never, for a single moment, been born of indifference or a lack of feeling. Rather, it has been a painful manifestation of my own profound shortcomings, my agonizing inadequacy in articulating the tumultuous depths of what resides within my heart. I need you to understand, with every fiber of your being, that I love you so profoundly, so deeply, that words themselves, however eloquent, are utterly insufficient to capture its magnitude. And with a desperation that shakes me to my core, I need you, truly need you, in my life. You hold a precious, irreplaceable place within me, a space no one else has ever, or could ever, occupy. From the very inception of our connection, from the moment I first became aware of your captivating presence, being near you awakened a vitality within me, a sense of aliveness I had never even conceived was possible. Your incandescent energy, your boundless love, and the radiant light you so effortlessly bring into my existence have stirred something long dormant within me, something pure, exquisitely beautiful, and undeniably real. And yet, despite this profound recognition of your essence, despite the transformative power you wield, I have, with painful regret, caused you hurt. I carry the crushing weight of profound regret for those moments when my own unhealed pain, my own incapacitating fears, spilled over onto you, marring the sacred space between us. There were countless times when I lashed out, when my words were sharp and my reactions unjust, not because of anything you did or said, but because I was involuntarily triggered by old, festering wounds that I had stubbornly refused to address or heal within myself. It was never, not for a single instant, your fault.